Welcome back for another Find video. In this video, we're going to go through pay groups, pay types, and the payroll preparation module, and how you and people on your team can get payroll ready for processing. Let's take a look at pay configurations in Find, and we'll go to Account, Settings, and Pay Configuration. We'll first start with pay groups, and we have one that's just named Standard, and you can rename that if you need to. And this is a weekly pay calendar. And the pay period start date for this example is Monday through Sunday. Now I can change this to Sunday if I need to, and it'll be Sunday through Saturday. And that'll change the views in the application here for week to week. And we also support bi-weekly, monthly, and semi-monthly. We'll leave the default pay type to the same, and we'll get into pay types in a second. But there is custom overtime here. And let's say, for example, there's a daily rule that if employees work more than 8 hours, they get overtime. And I'll click Save there. The last setting to go over for this pay group is the maximum punch set length. This basically says that if an employee punches in but we don't see a punch out after 12 hours, we're going to assume that that employee forgot to punch out. The next time the employee goes to grab the mobile device and punch, we're going to show punch in instead of punch out. We recommend keeping this at a minimum 12 hours and a max 16, somewhere between there. Let's take a look at pay types now. So pay types, we have 3 that are already created: working, PTO, and sick. Feel free to edit these as you need. Working you can rename, but we recommend keeping this one as the one that employees will be punching to most frequently. But let's say, for example, that I pay employees a bonus for doing a good job, but I don't have a pay type for that yet. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just add one. I'm going to name it bonus. We'll do BON. And we'll leave these the same. It is paid time, but it doesn't contribute to any accruals, and it doesn't use towards overtime at all. I'll go ahead and click Save. And there's one last thing we need to do. We now need to apply that pay type to the actual pay group. I'll go to Pay Groups, Standard, and let's add that bonus now there. And as you notice, the default pay type is working. We want to keep that the same, so when employees in this pay group punch to it, it'll always go to working. And I'll go ahead and click Save. Now let's go over to our employee Billy, and let's give Billy a bonus. He did a great job on Monday the 14th. So I'll come down here to Expenses and click Add, and I'll just say bonus for Billy. And the pay type, we'll select bonus and say great job, Billy. And the amount is $50. I'm going to approve this right now since I'm a supervisor adding this, and I'll go ahead and click Save. Now there's a bonus for Billy here for $50 for that day, and we can see that the weekly pay is now up $50, and that bonus pay has now been added. And it's not a time entry, so there's no hour amount, it's just a dollar amount. Now the last part of this video is we're going to be reviewing the payroll preparation module. Now we have a ton of in-depth guides that go over all the details of the payroll preparation module, so we'll just do a quick overview today on what that is. For the payroll preparation, let's go to the Payroll tab. And remember, this pay group standard is Monday through Sunday. So I'm going to do the previous pay period here and click Calculate Payroll. And here I'll get some graphs. So I can see that E approved means employee approved, and then supervisor approved is this next one. So I know that 20% of my employees have approved their time for this pay period, and 20% of the supervisors have approved the time for this pay period. If I scroll down, I can see a bit of more details here, but I'll focus down here on the payroll by hierarchy. I added some other additional hierarchies here, so East region, North, South, and West. And if I open up each one, I can see all the employees that punched at that hierarchy item. Now, for example, when I'm preparing payroll, I want to make sure that there's no open punches at all. I see that there's one missing punch, and if I look here, open punches, and go down to here, it looks like West region has one employee with an open punch, and that's Brent here. If I open this up, I can see that Brent worked on the 8th, 9th, and 11th, and there's a punch missing for the 11th. Let's take a look at that. I'll click this icon, and it'll take me right to his time card. And it looks like that Brent punched in at 12 and out at 1:42 p.m. and then came back to work at 4:50. And maybe Brent forgot to punch out, or maybe this was his out punch. Well, I just spoke with the supervisor, and it looks like Brent came and he worked from 2:30 p.m. and he forgot to punch in, but he did punch out. I'll click Add Punch, and now that 2:30 punch is now in front of that 4:50 punch there. And when I close, it looks like that missing punch, open punch, is now gone. Now, if I want to approve Brent's time, because I just spoke with the supervisor and it looks good, I can approve on this Tuesday, and it's marked as approved for this day, or I can approve the entire week at a time, which will do it all at once. And if I close out of this, we now see that West region is completely approved, and this went up here as well. For the employee approved, it looks like just one employee in the South area here, looks like Jackson, approved. Jackson's approved his time for these 3 days here, which is awesome. Now it's time for me to process payroll. Even though everything's not 100% approved, I know that there's no missing punches, there's no open punches, and I'm ready to process payroll. I want to start by locking down the different hierarchies as they become ready. So there's no open punches for East region. I'm going to go ahead and lock it. Now what locking does is it basically says no more changes can be done in this week for any employee that is in the East region. So for example, Lexi here, if I open this up, I cannot make any edits. It's locked. Now if I close out of this, I'm going to do the same for the rest of these. I'm going to lock the payroll. As you can see here, we're 100% locked. Now it's time for me to look at the payroll file. So I can click this download payroll file at any time, and it'll download a file there. I got 2 of them going. And that'll give me my payroll data here. When I'm 100% ready, I know that East region is ready. I can click this export button, and it'll download the exact same file. But if you notice here, it marks it as 100% exported for the East region. Now I'm going to go back and we're going to calculate payroll again and look at all the data. So it looks like we're 100% locked. We're 20% exported because I just did this here. But now I'm ready. I'm going to do the entire company here. And I'm going to click the export payroll file. Now it does ask, it says, hey, it looks like you exported a part of your company already. Do you want to include those in the next file? And I do want to include it. I want everything all in one. I'll click OK. And the payroll file is downloaded and we're 100% exported for this payroll. All right, that's it. In this video, we went through the pay groups, pay types, and the payroll preparation module. And we even processed payroll for a full week for our employees. If you have any questions, go to the support tab in the bottom right corner, that little icon, and search our guides for a more comprehensive overview of any of these topics. Thanks for watching.